Да. Классично. Jesam. Manjantimiranasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unimilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Om Jnana-timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Akshu Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamaham Nadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Можете славу напевать. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
slobodno upali.
Diš pranayam. Ide like, ili daje bhaktama neku pomoć, ne znam.
Ima jedna pjesma koju je me naučio Madhavananda Das Prabhu. Ne znam gdje, nema ga danas.
Tu je negdje.
Tamo.
Skriva se u
Pjevamo za oltar.
A doći će ako krenemo pjevati. Uglavnom, napisao tu pjesmu dok je podučavao djecu za vrijeme rata u Bosni, kad je osnovao Gurukul od 150 djece prošlo u to vrijeme tamo. I onda je napisao pjesmu da im bez puno priče objasni ko je Krišna i šta to znači Maha mantra. Pa sam mislila možda da vas probam naučiti. Dosta je fora. Pjevam Maha mantru, obožavam Krišnu, ja volim Govindu, osobu svevišnju. Sad bi pjevam Maha mantru, obožavam Krišnu, ja volim Govindu, osobu svevišnju. Pjevam Maha mantru, obožavam Krišnu, ja volim Govindu, osobu svevišnju. Obožavam Krišnu, ja volim Govindu, osobu svevišnju. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Slavim Krishna Čaitanju i njegove bhakte, ja volim Krishna loku, prasadame slatke. Slavim Krishna Čaitanju i njegove bhakte, volim Krishna loku, prasadame slatke. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Volim Šrila Prabhupada i njegove knjige, kada ih dočitam, tada sam bez Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeva Mahamantru Abhajavan Krishna Yavalingavin Vasavu Sve Vishnu. Što možemo pjevati?
A moj dio ne znaš dobro.
To je moje isto.
Mislim ja prvi put sve.
Hoćeš malo? Da nam malo svi.
Čega mi dan?
Mi smo mogli nekako poslije predaprišli predavanje se poslagati malo bliže pa da kameru na mjestu da nas vidimo.
Tebi ne treba mikrofon.
Stvarno klasično.
Klasični.
Nisam skio. Moje zvuče kao klasično, a ovo da zvuče kao smeta.
Mislim, kirac, bit će dobro.
Ja.
Pa si srce.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama
15 minuta. Jer smo se dogovorili s Mahatma Prabhuom do 6:15. Uz vas ja nemam šta protiv.
Madhavananda, hoćeš ti malo, Madhavananda? Hoćeš ti malo?
Tanja, ti lijepo pjevaš, nemoj uzmi karapeli.
Ja sam bolje
A
pratila.
ja sam već pjevala. Hajde Tanja, ajde.
Odlično,
Hajde
Tanja
pjevaj.
pjeva.
Tanja, ajde, može.
Ajde, Tanja, ajde. Svi za Tanju, Tanja.
A mogao bi dragi što on već 50 godina to radi. Mogao se, mogao.
Tanja, meni je. Vodi Tanja da volja. Neću kvar.
Nisam se pripremila.
Nema veze, samo se predaj. Odmah si pripremljen.
Odbaci sljedeći.
Stalo si malo da se ne vidi gospodin Palavi Tanja. Možeš još malo nazad.
Sad bolje?
Gdje kameru pomeš ovo za koje?
Dobro, može i to. Onda se vidi lijepo sve.
Hare Krishna.
Dalje intonaciju, dalje radi.
Ne znam, samo čekajte. Moram malo se. Sretno tu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare
Hvala, dragi bhakte.
Dobrodošli su mu izraziti ime ISKCON Rijeka i to sve.
Hare Krishna. Mahatma Prabhu, thank you so much for being here. Please accept our humble obeisances and all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If it's not a problem, I would like to say a couple of words about you.
As long as it's not too much.
It's just going to be a tiny little bit.
Why don't you say it in Croatian so I don't have to hear it?
Yes. Dakle, danas nam predavanje za Sunday Feast drži Mahatma Prabhu, učenik Srila Prabhupada. Pridružio se ISKCON-u 1969. godine, a dobio je prvu i drugu inicijaciju 1970. Imao je puno različitih službi unutar ISKCON-a, između čega kao temple president, kao voditelj Sankirtana i razne druge službe, a danas je najaktivniji, jako je aktivan na socijalnim mrežama i pomaže kroz različite radionice i predavanja i tečajeve bhaktama kao i laicima da duhovnost prakticiraju kroz svaku poru svojeg života. Eto, hvala puno i please, Mahatma Prabhu, you can start.
Are you going to translate, or am I just going to speak English?
Vinata Mataji will translate. I hope she's here.
Yeah, she's... Okay, good. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sanyavari Paschacha Desatarine. So, I was asked to speak on a very difficult topic by another temple. And I thought today was the day I was going to speak on that topic.
Zamolili su me da govorim na jednu vrlo tešku temu u jednom drugom hramu i odlučio sam da je danas taj dan kad ću o tome govoriti.
So I called up Tanya and I asked her, was there actually a topic? And she said, no, we had not planned a topic.
Nazvao sam Tanju i pitao je da li je već unaprijed određena tema na koju trebam govoriti, a on nam je odgovorila da nije.
And she said, why don't you speak about appreciation?
I ona mi je odgovorila zašto ne bi govorio o tome kako cijeniti druge.
I said, that's a very good topic. Why don't we speak about that? I like that idea.
I prihvatio sam tu njezinu ideju, učinilo mi se da je to jako dobra tema.
We don't find the exact word appreciation in our scriptures. We find more the word glorification.
U našim spisima uglavnom se ne susrećemo sa tom riječi koju je inače teško prevesti na hrvatski, to da cijenimo druge, već više nalazimo pojam slavljenje.
And so you could say that appreciation is a category of glorification.
Možemo reći da cijeniti nekoga je jedna kategorija slavljenja nekog.
When Lord Chaitanya met Sanatana Goswami, he was glorifying Sanatana Goswami.
Kad je gospodin Chaitanya susreo Sanatana Gosvamija, on ga je slavio.
And Sanatana Goswami, being a humble devotee, was embarrassed.
A Sanatan Gosvami, obzirom da je ponizni bhakta, bilo mu je neugodno.
And you know, sometimes when we're glorified, we just say, no, 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 please, I'm not so great. We try to play it down.
Ponekad kad nas slave, onda se protivimo tome i kažemo ne, nemoj to govoriti, ja nisam baš tako velik. Pokušavamo to nekako smanjiti.
So that's what Sanatana Goswami did.
I to je upravo ono što je napravio Sanatan Gosvami.
And Lord Chaitanya said no. He said the perfection of my speech is to glorify a devotee.
Ali gospodin Chaitanya se suprotstavio, rekao je ne, savršenstvo mog govora je slavljenje bhakte.
So everything good comes from glorifying a devotee.
Sve dobro dolazi od slavljenja bhakte.
Let's say, if I appreciate another devotee, it's very good for me.
Ako cijenim nekog drugog bhaktu, to je jako dobro za mene.
And when we're appreciated, it makes us feel that our service is worthwhile because people are appreciating or they're noticing or they're benefiting.
A kad nas cijene, onda mi osjećamo da ima smisla ta služba koju radimo, da je korisna, da ljudi od nje imaju neku dobrobit, da je cijene.
So I have organized workshops in which I asked all the devotees to go around the room and say some appreciative statement to every single devotee in the workshop.
Imam radionice na kojima tražim od sudionika bhakta da svaki pojedini bhakta koji u njima sudjeluje izjavi neku takvu izjavu u kojoj cijeni nekoga, nešto.
And the atmosphere in the room is so blissful, is so happy. You just like you can feel it deeply.
Kad se to događa, onda je atmosfera u sobi tako blažena, tako duboka. Možete to duboko doživjeti kako su svi zadovoljni.
You can see it on everyone's face.
Možete to vidjeti na svačijem licu.
And in my forgiveness workshop, we have another exercise.
A na radionicama u kojima se bavimo oprostom, opraštanjem, imamo drugu vježbu.
Sometimes it's a little difficult.
Ponekad je malo teško.
But we ask the devotees to pretend the person you're trying to forgive is your partner and just appreciate them. Say words of appreciation. So it's like you're saying words of appreciation to the person who abused you.
Tražimo od bhakta da u toj situaciji osobi koju želimo da oproste, da mu se obrate kao da je njihov partner i da mu govore riječi u kojima pokazuju koliko ga cijene. To je malo teško jer je to kao da cijenite nekog ko vas je zlostavljao.
And devotees say it's one of the most transforming experiences they've ever had. Well, yeah, I'll just say it's an extremely transforming experience.
I bhakte nakon toga primjećuju da ih to iskustvo iznimno promijeni.
And they would say that by appreciating the devotee, their heart changed. Their ill feelings towards that devotee started to become neutralized.
I onda znaju reći kako kada tako cijene nekog bhaktu i to verbaliziraju, onda im se srce promijeni. Jednostavno se to ima utjecaj na njih.
And I've also had the same experience.
I ja sam imao to isto iskustvo.
So having facilitated the workshop many times, maybe 30 or 40 times, I've got to see this transformation over and over and over again.
Puno puta sam to imao osobno prilike vidjeti na radionicama, možda 30-40 puta ili čak i više. Uvijek iznova bih imao taj isti doživljaj.
And I started thinking that appreciation really should become part of our sadhana.
I onda sam počeo misliti kako bi to da cijenimo druge trebalo postati dio naše sadhane.
And one of the things we discovered is that it's hard to hate someone and appreciate them at the same time. It's usually one or the other.
I jedna od stvari koje smo otkrili je da je teško nekoga istovremeno mrziti i cijeniti. Obično je ili jedno ili drugo.
I'm not a psychologist, but it seems that like opposing emotions can't take prominence at the same time. One tends to override the other.
Nisam psiholog, ali čini se da suprotne emocije ne mogu istovremeno postojati, nego uvijek postoji ta sklonost da jedna od njih nadvlada.
And so I joke with the devotees, after we do the exercise where everyone appreciates everyone else, I say, well, now we're going to do an exercise where you can go around the room and tell the devotees all the bad things you feel about them.
I onda se šalim s baktama, nakon što napravimo taj dio vježbe u kojoj svatko ide naokolo i govori kako cijeni svakog drugog u toj sobi, onda im kažem da ćemo sad imati drugu vježbu u kojoj ćemo govoriti jednim drugima šta nam se kod te druge osobe ne sviđa.
Of course, I'm joking.
Naravno da se šalim, to je samo šala.
And all the devotees say, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
I svi bakte na taj prijedlog odmah kažu, ne, to ne želimo raditi, ne želimo to raditi.
But I suspect if that were the first exercise, I think a lot of devotees would say, yeah, I need to tell these devotees what's wrong with him. They'd actually maybe, be excited about it. Finally, we get to open our minds to everybody.
Ali ja sumnjam da nije prije toga bila ova vježba u kojoj smo pokazivali koliko druge cijenimo, da je ova vježba u kojoj drugima govorimo što kod njih ne valja bila prva, da bi bakte bili puni volje da to rade, jedva bi to dočekali konačno da mogu drugima reći u nos, u lice što kod njih po njima ne valja.
But they were feeling so happy and satisfied from appreciating that it actually just removed the desire to go negative into criticism.
Ali zahvaljujući ovoj prvoj vježbi u kojoj su cijenili, pokazivali koliko cijene druge bakte, to im je donijelo toliko unutrašnje zadovoljstvo da više nisu imali nikakve potrebe da budu kritični, da ulaze u to područje.
So I think a question would naturally come up, well, why don't we do it more?
I prirodno bismo se onda mogli zapitati zašto to ne radimo češće ili više.
And I will attempt to at least partially answer this question.
Pokušat ću barem djelomično odgovoriti na to pitanje.
But I would suggest that you also ask yourself this question.
Ali predložio bih da i sami sebi postavite to pitanje.
Appreciation has to come from the heart. It can't really come from the head. Like I can't tell you appreciate and expect that, the rest of your life you're going to be appreciating devotees and not criticizing.
Taj osjećaj da cijenimo drugi treba doći iz srca, a ne iz glave. To se ne može nekome narediti. Evo, od sad nadalje čitav svoj život i ćeš cijeniti bakte.
We actually have to develop a vision of seeing the best in everyone and overlooking the faults. That's the vision of the advanced devotee sees that way.
Zapravo trebamo razviti viziju da vidimo najbolje u drugima i da zanemarimo nedostatke. To je način na koji napredan bhakta zapravo gleda.
So, if you find in your life that when you see somebody, your mind tends to go to the fault rather than appreciation, I would take that as a problem, as a red flag, like something's wrong with my heart, that I'm going to see the fault instead of see the good quality.
Ako primijetite kod sebe da kad se sretnete s nekim, da vam ide u smjeru traženja grešaka kod te osobe, umjesto da uočite ono što je dobro kod nje, ja bih osobno takvu sklonost primijetio kao alarm, kao crveno svjetlo koje pokazuje da nešto ne valja s mojim srcem.
And then you say something like, but Prabhu, he's got faults and they're hard not to see.
A onda biste vi na to mogli odgovoriti, ali Prabhu, on je pun grešaka i teško ih je ne vidjeti.
As the joke goes, I'm not fault finding, you're exhibiting your faults. I don't have to find them, they're right in my face.
Kao što kaže ta šala, kaže nije da ja tragam za greškama, ti jednostavno imaš čitavu izložbu tih grešaka, one su mi ravno pred nosom.
So I've studied this topic fairly extensively, and I'll explain some of the conclusions that I've drawn.
Dosta duboko sam ušao u tu temu, pa ću sada objasniti neke od zaključaka do kojih sam došao.
Even if a devotee is displaying his or her faults in clear daylight, it's a defect on our part that we focus on the fault rather than the good.
Čak i ako bhakta sve svoje nedostatke jasno pokazuje kao na danjem svjetlu, još uvijek je naša pogreška ta što im obraćamo pažnju.
Do you ever see someone's fault and get really bothered by it?
Dogodi li vam se da uočite nečiju grešku i da vas to stvarno smeta?
You kind of wish you could make that fault go away, just like, phew.
Poželite da jednostavno nekako možete ukloniti taj nedostatak, da samo nestane.
Or maybe 10 faults go away.
Ili možda 10 nedostataka.
When that happens to us, we have to look at ourselves and say, the problem is within me, not within the person.
Kad nam se to dogodi, trebamo pogledati unutar sebe i zaključiti kako je problem u meni, a ne u toj osobi.
Okay, we're going to do a little vote here. Raise your hand if you have raise your hand if you have no faults.
Glasat ćemo sad ovdje malo. Podignite ruku ukoliko nemate grešaka.
Okay. I don't see any hands up yet. Well, Donald Trump's not here, so we won't get any hands up.
Nemamo nekakvih ruku u zraku, obzirom da nema Donalda Trumpa, izgleda ih neće ni biti.
If he were here, I'd be the only one with his hand up.
Da je on tu, njegova bi ruka bila u zraku.
Okay, I think we've demonstrated statistically that we all have faults.
Mislim da smo dokazali pomoću statistike da svi imamo greške.
Well, and I can confirm you all have some good qualities also, no doubt.
Ali ja mogu potvrditi da svi mi, da svi vi isto tako imate i neke jako dobre osobine, bez sumnje.
So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave his decision, his conclusion on why we find fault.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati je dao svoj zaključak zašto tražimo greške.
He said, because I have not a drop of humility, I see the faults in others.
Rekao je da je uzrok toga što u drugima vidimo greške činjenica da nemamo ni kapi poniznosti.
No, Prabhu, that's not the reason. He's doing this wrong. That's why, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. He's got problems.
Ne, Prabhu, nije da nešto ne valja sa mnom. To je on to pogrešno radi. Sa mnom je sve u redu, on ima problem.
Have you ever thought like that before?
Jeste li kad prije tako razmišljali?
But his problem is now disturbing you. So that's a problem. Yes?
No, njegov problem sad smeta vama, uznemiruje vas. I to je problem.
That's one problem. Second problem is I'm focused on the fault rather than the good quality.
To je jedan problem, a drugi problem je da sam se skoncentrirao na nedostatak umjesto na dobru osobinu.
And the third problem is if I say something, that means I have a need to find fault. That's what it means. I need to say this. I can't, I get on Facebook and tell everybody or whatever. I need to say it. That's the third problem.
A treći problem je očito ako govorimo o tome imam potrebu da govorimo o greškama. Idem na Facebook ili na neki drugi način to objelodanim svijetu.
Now here comes the sensitive part that's sometimes hard to face.
A sad dolazimo do osjetljivog dijela s kojim se ponekad teško suočiti.
Usually, when another person's fault bothers you, it's because you have that fault yourself. Otherwise, it wouldn't really bother you if you didn't have it.
Obično, kada te nečija greška smeta, to je zato jer i ti sam imaš isto taj nedostatak, tu grešku. Da je nemaš, onda te ne bi zapravo smetalo.
You ever see a devotee chanting japa like really poorly?
Jeste li kad vidjeli bhaktu koji stvarno loše mantra na džapi?
Hey Prabhu, shnik shnik ram ram. How's it going, Prabhu? Shnik shnik ram 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 ram. What are you doing tonight? Shnik shnik ram. You ever seen that kind of japa?
Bhakta koji mantra, hej Prabhu, šnik šnik ram ram, kako ti ide večeras, šnik šnik ram ram, hej, šta ćemo raditi? Ste ikad vidjeli bhaktu koji na taj način mantra?
And when you see that, it's like, why don't you just chant japa properly? It's upsetting, right?
I kad to vidite, onda se uznemirite i kažete, zašto ne mantraš pravilno kako treba?
For those devotees who chant japa properly, it doesn't bother them. It only bothers the ones who chant like that devotee.
Međutim, one bhakte koji uistinu pravilno mantraju, njima takve stvari uopće ne smetaju. Smetaju samo onima koji sami tako mantraju.
It might concern you that they could chant better, but it won't bother you. But when it bothers you, it generally signifies that you have a problem with japa also. And he's reminding you of the fact that you have a problem, and that's upsetting you.
Možeš primijetiti da tako mantra, ali te ta stvar ne uznemirava. Ako te uznemirava, onda to ukazuje na to da i ti sam imaš taj problem, inače te to ne bi uznemiravalo.
So I have a suggestion.
Imam jedan prijedlog.
You might be wondering, well, you know, I have this problem. I tend to see people's faults. And so how can I benefit from this class in a way that I actually change and actually learn to appreciate?
Možete uočiti da imate taj problem, da volite gledati tuđe greške i da se sad pitate kako to promijeniti, kako izvući korist od ovog predavanja za to da se promijeni ta navika.
I have some statistics for you.
Za vas imam statistiku.
Have you ever heard a class like that's telling you to change something? Like this one, you know, stop criticizing or eat less or get up earlier. You know, one of those classes, transformational. You ever heard a class like that?
Jeste li kad slušali neko predavanje u kojem vam govore da se trebate promijeniti, kao poput ovog sada, kao na primjer jedi manje, ustani se rano, ili neko takvo predavanje kojemu je cilj da se promijenite? Jeste čuli takvo predavanje, slušali?
Okay, I have some statistics for you.
Imam statistiku za vas.
If the class is like an okay class, the effect will last 24 hours.
Ako je predavanje bilo ok, u redu, onda će učinak takvog predavanja trajati 24 sata.
If it's a good class, the effect can last up to 3 days.
Ako je predavanje bilo stvarno dobro, onda njegov učinak može trajati sve do 3 dana.
And if it's like really deep, amazing, etc., it could last up to a week.
Ako je predavanje bilo duboko, zapanjujuće, stvarno posebno, onda njegov učinak može trajati do tjedan dana.
And if it's a workshop, it could last for months, maybe even lifetimes, but no guarantee it'll last for a whole life.
Ali ako je bila radionica, onda može trajati mjesecima njezin učinak, možda čak i cijeli život, ali nema jamstva za to.
Okay, raise your hand if you have that experience of the okay class lasting 24 hours.
Podignite ruku ako ste imali takvo iskustvo sa predavanjem koje je bilo ok. Da je
the next 24 hours I didn't eat much.
Sljedeća 24 sata nisam baš puno jeo.
I think we all have that experience, right?
Mislim da smo svi imali to iskustvo.
And so what the problem is, it's floating around our head.
Problem je da nam se to vrzna po glavi.
So after a few days of not floating around our head anymore, we go back, we default.
I nakon par dana kad nam se više to ne vrzna po glavi, onda se vratimo natrag starim navikama po običaju.
So I'm going to give you a practice or something that I've learned that can defeat this problem.
Zato ću vam dati neku vježbu, nešto što sam naučio da može promijeniti može se nositi s tim problemom.
Even if you're a paka fault finder, this can help you.
Čak i ako ste paka tragatelj za greškama, to se može dogoditi.
Even if you could win a gold medal for fault finding, this will help you.
Čak i ako zaslužujete zlatnu medalju u pronalaženju grešaka, ovo će vam pomoći.
It's called practice.
Zove se vježba.
So let's say I see Tanya, and Tanya's chanting shnik shnik ram ram ram, and I'm going crazy watching her.
Recimo, na primjer, ja gledam Tanju i ona mantra tako šnik šnik ram ram i poludim dok je gledam.
So what do I do?
Što napravim?
In my mind, I have to practice appreciation. So I have to find something that I appreciate.
U sebi trebam vježbati to da cijenim druge. Trebam naći nešto što cijenim kod nje, vjerojatno.
So I can see that she's sincerely schnicking.
Mogu primijetiti da ona iskreno šnika.
Very sincere.
Jako iskreno.
And so I focus on the sincerity.
I onda se usredotočim na iskrenost.
And then, I might see her later in the day or sometime I'll say, I really like the way you chant. I could see you're really sincere.
I onda kasnije tijekom dana možemo se susresti i ja joj mogu reći, znaš, stvarno mi se sviđa kako mantraš, vidim da si jako iskrena.
But what's actually going on inside of me is like, why do you chant like that? That's so bad. That's what's going on inside of me.
Ali ono što zapravo se odvija unutra u meni je, zašto tako mantraš? To je tako grozno.
But I'm practicing being appreciative because my default was to find what's wrong instead of to appreciate.
Ali vježbam da cijenim druge, jer mi je početna pozicija bila ta da nalazim greške i zato sad vježbam cijeniti druge.
There's a really interesting verse in the Gita where Krishna tells Arjuna, you should learn to tolerate.
Vrlo zanimljivi šloka, kitica u Giti je ta u kojoj Krishna kaže Arjuni trebaš naučiti tolerirati.
And how do you learn something?
A kako nešto naučite?
You practice it, right?
Vježbajući to.
So today we're going to try to learn how to appreciate. How are we going to learn how to appreciate? We have to practice it.
Danas ćemo pokušati naučiti kako cijeniti druge i kako ćemo to napraviti tako da to vježbamo.
And what happens if you practice something over and over and over for a long period of time?
I što se događa ako nešto vježbate iznova dugo vremena?
It starts to become a habit.
Postane vam to navika.
And you start to see the good in people and not the bad.
I počnete u ljudima vidjeti dobre strane, a ne loše.
Now, for those of us who like to criticize, we've been practicing criticism for a really long time.
Oni od nas koji vole kritizirati, mi smo to prakticirali već stvarno jako dugo.
And when you practice something for a long time, you get really good at it.
Kad nešto prakticiraš jako dugo, onda postaneš jako dobar u tome.
So some of us are really good at criticizing.
Neki od nas su stvarno dobri u kritiziranju.
Because we have so much practice.
Jer smo to jako dugo vježbali.
So you have to reverse the cycle.
Da trebamo preokrenuti to.
Now some of you are thinking, but Prabhu, that's artificial.
Neki od vas možda misle, ali Prabhu, to je izvještačeno.
And it's dishonest because I don't like the way she chants, but I'm telling her she chants sincerely. It's not real. Got to be real, Prabhu.
I nije pošteno, jer zapravo meni se ne sviđa kako ona mantra, a kažem joj da mi se sviđa jer mantra je iskreno. To nije iskreno, nije prava stvar, treba biti prava stvar.
Well, I don't really have any attraction for japa, so if I'm going to be real, I'm just not going to chant. Right?
Ja ne osjećam nikakvu privrženost prema džapi, i ako hoću biti iskren, onda neću ni mantrati, zar ne?
Now, if some devotee said that to you, you would probably say, no, Prabhu, you have to practice, then you'll get a taste, right? You'd say that, right?
Kad bi vam neki bhakta došao sa takvom izjavom, vjerojatno biste mu rekli, ne, Prabhu, moraš vježbati i onda ćeš steći ukus. To biste mu rekli, zar ne?
So, what I have realized over the years is that qualities like compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, etc., and here we're talking about appreciation, are part of our sadhana. We need to practice them, even if we don't feel like it.
Tijekom vremena sam shvatio da te osobine kao što su samilost, tolerancija, opraštanje su zapravo dio naše sadhane, nešto što trebamo vježbati, iako to sad ne osjećamo.
Appreciation is a practice.
cijeniti druge je isto tako vježba.
You do it even if you don't want to.
To znači da to radiš čak i kad ne želiš.
It's a sadhana.
To je sadhana.
It's going to change you.
Promijenit će te.
Now, why is this important?
Zašto je to važno?
Because if you read Prabhupada's books, you will learn very quickly that one of the best ways to stay in the material world, one of the top, in the top 3, if not the top 1, is criticize devotees. Well, say criticize is number 2, offend them is number 1. This is like excellent way to just lose your Krishna consciousness.
Pa ako ste čitali Prabhupadove knjige, vrlo brzo ćete shvatiti da je jedan od najboljih načina, ako ne i najbolji način da ostanete dalje u ovom materijalnom svijetu, to da kritizirate bhakte. Zapravo, broj 1 je da ih vrijeđate, a broj 2 je da ih kritizirate.
So conversely, as we began by saying, conversely, appreciation, glorification is one of the best ways to make advancement.
I isto tako, ako druge ljude cijenimo i slavimo ih, to je najbolji način da napredujemo.
So sometimes devotees might say, I'm trying to chant my rounds and I'm doing all the tools, using all the tools, the strategies, the meditations, and they're still bad. And you say, well, then I would say, well, make a list of who you're criticizing and ask for forgiveness, because that might be the one thing that's getting in the way of good japa.
Poneki put bhakte kažu da vježbaju mantranje i primjenjuju različite tehnike i strategije, ali ništa ne pomaže, mantranje im nije ništa bolje. Onda im ja savjetujem da naprave popis osoba koje kritiziraju, jer je očito to problem koji ih sprečava da poboljšaju svoju džapu.
The tendency... I'll wait for her. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The tendency to find fault is a deeply conditioned tendency.
Sklonost ka pronalaženju grešaka je duboko ukorijenjena.
And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not listen to his disciples finding fault with other disciples. He was just... would not listen.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati nije želio slušati uopće kada bi njegovi učenici pronalazili greške u drugim učenicima.
One devotee was complaining to Prabhupada about a GBC.
Jedan se bhakta žalio Prabhupadu na GBC.
And Prabhupada said, get out.
Prabhupada mu rekao, izađi, nestani.
Didn't want to hear it. Didn't want to introduce that environment into ISKCON.
Nije htio ni čuti ništa o tome. Nije htio da se stvori takva navika u ISKCONu.
So it's not only bad for us, it's bad for the environment of our community.
Tako da pronalaženje grešaka nije loše samo za nas, već je loše i za cijelo okruženje u našoj zajednici.
How do you feel when you find out that someone's been criticizing you behind your back?
Kako se osjećate kad otkrijete da vas netko kritizira iza leđa?
It's pretty discouraging, isn't it?
Prilično obeshrabrujuće, zar ne?
And the more that goes on in a community, the more it pollutes it.
Što više se to događa u zajednici, to je više zajednica zagađena.
And the more there's appreciation, the more it energizes the community, and it also attracts people to want to be part of that community.
A što više se bhakte međusobno cijene, to je ta zajednica privlačnija i privlači druge ljude koji požele da postanu dio te zajednice.
So I would say it is not only a tool for or a sadhana for our Krishna consciousness, but it's also a mechanism for preaching, a very powerful and effective mechanism for preaching.
Tako da bih rekao da to nije samo oruđe ili sadhana za našu vlastitu svjesnost Krišne, već je ujedno i vrlo moćan mehanizam za propovijedanje.
And when devotees were appreciating one another, Srila Prabhupada would sometimes compliment them for he was so happy to see that they were appreciating one another.
A kad bi bhakte pokazivali kako se međusobno cijene, onda bi Prabhupada ih pohvalio i bilo mu je jako drago to vidjeti.
because it's a manifestation of humility.
Jer to pokazuje da su ponizni.
And when a devotee manifests humility, it means he's progressing in spiritual life.
Kad bhakta pokazuje poniznost, to znači da napreduje u duhovnom životu.
And conversely, when he's manifesting pride, it means he's falling in spiritual life. So when devotees manifested pride, really disturbed Prabhupada.
I suprotno, kad pokazuje ponos, to znači da se degradira. I zato kad bi bhakte pokazivali ponos u duhovnom životu, to je Prabhupadu stvarno smetalo.
So it's good to remember that we will please Prabhupada by being humble, we will please Prabhupada by cooperating, we will please Prabhupada by appreciating.
Dobro je zapamtiti da ćemo Prabhupadu ugoditi tako da smo ponizni, da surađujemo i da cijenimo jedni druge.
It's not that, well, I just go out on book distribution, so, I'm number one top dog in the temple, so I can offend everybody and it's okay. Don't ever think like that.
Nije dobro razmišljanje da mislimo, ja idem stalno van u dijeljenje knjiga, ja sam glavni u Sankirtanu, broj 1 i onda mogu sve druge vrijeđati. Nemojte nikad tako misliti. Razmišljati.
So maybe after this class, you can all appreciate somebody. Start practicing.
Možda nakon ovog predavanja možete svi pokazati nekome kako ga cijenite. Počnite vježbati.
You can appreciate, I see some of you are together in the temple.
Vidim neki od vas ste zajedno tu u hramu.
You can just walk around, stay 6 feet apart and appreciate from a distance.
Možete se ustati, prošetati, stati na propisnu epidemiološku udaljenost od druge osobe i cijeniti je iz te razdaljine.
Or tell someone at home or send an email or whatever. And you will experience great happiness by doing that.
Ali vi koji ste kod kuće, nađete nekoga koga možete cijeniti ili pošaljite neki email i vidjet ćete kako će vas to usrećiti.
So hopefully I've given you a few reasons to inspire you to do that. And the culmination or the benefit of this class will be that you make this a new way of life and you do it every day.
Nadam se da sam vam dao nekoliko dobrih razloga zašto biste to željeli raditi, vježbati. I kulminacija dobrobiti ovog predavanja je da to počnete raditi svakodnevno.
And I will promise you, if you do this every day, it's going to develop a natural desire to want to appreciate devotees.
I mogu vam obećati da ako budete vježbali to raditi svaki dan, razvit ćete prirodnu želju da želite cijeniti druge bhakte.
So I'm going to stop here.
Ja ću ovdje stati.
I think that's a good foundation for this topic.
Mislim da je to dobar temelj za ovu temu.
We can take your questions like, but what if?
Sad možete...
What if this devotee is actually a demon in disguise? And if I appreciate him, I'll go to hell. Your what if questions.
Sad možete postaviti svoje pitanja u kojima kažete da, ali šta ako je taj bhakta zapravo demon prerušen i ako ga slavim, otići ću u pakao i sad je vrijeme za vaše pitanja.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is the first time I've ever given a class to Croatia. We're in Croatia, right? Croatia devotees. I've given class to Croatian devotees in India. And they were always the best students. I taught at VIH. They were always the best students. I'm not just saying this, it's true. They were always the best students.
Ovo je prvi put da držim predavanje pred baktama u Hrvatskoj. Ja sam zapravo držao predavanje Hrvatima, ali u Indiji, i to je bilo na VIH-u, na toj Vajštavskom institutu za više obrazovanje. I oni su uvijek bili najbolji učenici. Nije da sad to samo govorim, da laskam, nego stvarno je to istina.
Okay, so if anyone wants to ask a question, what's the best way to do it, Tanya? Or someone, you can put a question in the chat or you can raise your hand.
Ako imate neko pitanje, koji bi bio najbolji način za to? Može se staviti u ovaj chat box ili možete dići ruku.
We have one question.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna bring the microphone closer to the devotee.
Imamo pitanje, sad ću da odnos mikrofon bhakti koji će postaviti pitanje.
Renata, ok.
Dođi ti.
Ok, ok. Molim te, primi moje ponizno poštovanje Mahatma Prabhu, sva slava Šrila Prabhupadi i sva slava svim prisutnim bhaktama ovdje.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mahatma Prabhu, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all devotees present here.
Moje pitanje je u vezi kritiziranja bhakta, kada mi čujemo kritike recimo u vezi nas ili drugih, ali da to dolazi nama iza leđa. Na koji način da se mi odnosimo prema tome, jer recimo da ima i bhakta koji su svjesni Krišne i recimo da su svjesni su, recimo da rade svoju službu ok, i onda ne doživljavaju možda te kritike iza leđa tako previše osobno. Jel? I šta sa onima koji to doživljavaju previše osobno, pa onda ih to ometa u njihovom napretku u duhovnom životu? Hare Krishna, hvala.
Some devotees are quite Krishna conscious and absorbed in their service, and when they hear that somebody is criticizing them behind their back, they are not really disturbed. But
Yes.
others are not like that, and when they hear criticism about themselves, that disturbs them. So for this later category of devotees, what would be your advice? How should they behave?
There's a philosophical answer and there's a psychological answer.
Postoji filozofski odgovor na to pitanje i psihološki.
The philosophical answer is Lord Chaitanya is speaking through them to make me humble.
Filozofski odgovor je razmišljati u toj situaciji. Gospodin Chaitanya govori kroz njih kako bih postao ponizniji. Ja postao ponizniji.
You know, when people find fault with you, it's sobering that, not everyone in the world loves you.
Kad ljudi pronalaze greške u tebi, kad te kritiziraju, to je otrežnjavajuće. Shvatiš da te baš ne vole svi na ovom svijetu.
It's a reminder of your own, inadequacies in some areas, at least perceived by some to be inadequate.
To te podsjeća na tvoje nedostatke u nepotpunosti u nekim područjima života, ili barem ono što se takvim doimlje.
I can tell you personally how I also deal with it.
Mogu ti reći kako ja osobno se nosim s tim.
Generally, when a person is finding fault, there's something upsetting them. Not necessarily about you per se, but maybe in general they're upset.
Obično, kada ljudi pronalaze neke greške, nešto ih smeta. Ne mora to biti nužno povezano s tobom, ali općenito ih nešto smeta.
Like, maybe a woman thinks that all men are just misogynist. They hate, she thinks all men hate women. And then, so she picks on you, and you understand that. She has had bad experience with men.
Možda je, na primjer, riječ o nekoj ženi koja ima loše iskustvo sa muškarcima i misli da svi muškarci mrze žene i onda se tako ophodi prema tebi. A ti onda jednostavno razumiješ da je to zato jer ona ima tako loše iskustvo.
So sometimes you can be understanding of why they're upset.
Ponekad se može razumjeti zašto su uznemireni.
You ever see a person when they're upset, they'll just get upset at everybody? If you walk in front of them, they'll yell at you also.
Jesi li kad vidi osobu koja je uznemirena, jednostavno je svi onda uznemiraju, svi joj smetaju. Ako prođeš ispred nje, onda će se i na tebe izvikati.
So sometimes, devotee comes to the point where they're very discouraged in their spiritual life or very discouraged about ISKCON, and they're just finding fault with everything. And you just happen to walk in front of them, so you get it.
Pa neki put bhakte dođu do točke u životu kada ih su potpuno beshrabreni sa svime u svom duhovnom životu, sa ISKCONom, i onda jednostavno u svemu vide neke loše stvari, loše strane, i ako ti ne iđeš, onda će to preliti na tebe.
One thing that's important to recognize is that I could become very upset because of a problem another devotee's having. And perhaps I didn't do anything wrong, but they see that I've done something wrong. So they're upset with me, and as a result, I allow my mind to become disturbed, and I can be disturbed for days.
Jedna stvar koju tu treba uočiti je da problem je u tome što mene smeta to što ja njih smetam. I onda možda sam nešto učinio pogrešno, možda čak i nisam, ali ta činjenica da mene smeta to što oni mene kritiziraju ili nešto govore, će biti moj problem i će mi biti uznemiren Bog zna koliko dana.
So I'm making the assumption they're finding fault with you and you didn't do anything wrong.
Ja ovdje polazim s pretpostavkom da te bhakte te kritiziraju, a da je to neosnovano, da nisi nešto pogrešno.
You feel it's unfair, and now you're completely disturbed for days because they're having a problem. So you allow yourself to suffer because of their fault.
I onda si ti uznemiren zbog toga što oni tebe kritiziraju i zbog toga što oni imaju problem, ti dozvoliš sebi da patiš danima.
Now, the psychological reason is maybe you grew up being criticized and you've like hit your limit of you just can't take it anymore.
Psihološki problem je možda da su te non stop kritizirali, tako si odrastao da su te kritizirali i došao si do točke u kojoj više to ne podnosiš.
Or you have low self-esteem, you already think you're bad, and then you hear someone else telling you how bad you are, and it's just, you can't take it.
Ili imaš nisko samopouzdanje i već misliš samo o sebi kako niš ne valjaš i kad ti neko drugi još nešto loše kaže o tebi, jednostavno to ne možeš podnijeti.
If I'm being criticized for something that I know for which I know I'm innocent, then there's nothing I can do because I didn't do anything wrong. But if I have actually done something wrong, then I should acknowledge that and improve myself.
Ako me kritiziraju zbog nečeg što uopće nisam napravio, ako sam potpuno nevin, onda tu ne mogu ništa napraviti. Ali ako me kritiziraju zbog nečeg što sam pogriješio, onda to mogu upotrijebiti da se poboljšam.
Now, one of the highest ways to process criticism is a devotee will think, I deserve this. I'm such a rascal, I deserve a pie in my face.
Jedan od najboljih načina najviših načina da probavimo tuđu kritiku je da mislimo kako smo to zaslužili.
I mean, that's how advanced devotees think.
Na taj način razmišljaju napredni bhakte.
A neophyte will think, I don't deserve any of this.
Početnik će misliti, ja ništa od toga ne zaslužujem.
I'm leaving ISKCON, I don't deserve this.
Napuštam ISKCON, ne zaslužujem to.
Advanced devotee thinks, I deserve worse. Krishna just minimized it.
Napredni bhakta misli, ja zaslužujem puno gore, Krishna je sve to samo smanjio.
We heard a story, some man was offending Prabhupada and devotees tried to stop him. And Prabhupada said, no, I must have offended him in my last life. Just let him talk.
Čuli smo te priče gdje je neki čovjek vrijeđao Prabhupada i bhakte su ga htjeli zaustaviti, ali Prabhupada je zaustavio bhakte koji su htjeli zaustaviti tog čovjeka sa riječima, pustite ga, mora da sam ga uvrijedio u nekom prošlom životu, pustite ga da govori.
And then of course there's Trinadapi Sunichena.
A onda je tu naravno i Trinadapi Sunichena.
You heard that verse before?
Jeste već čuli za tu kiticu?
I must have forgotten that. Oh yeah, something about tolerance and humility. Yeah, something like that, right?
Malo smo zaboravili, ne? Nešto u vezi tolerancije i poniznosti, da ne?
Where's that verse when you need it? When you're about to scream at somebody? What happened to that verse?
Gdje je ta kitica kad vam treba, kad ste taman spremni vrištat na nekog? Gdje je nestala ta kitica?
So, I think your question also sheds light on how well we are practicing what we are taught to practice.
Mislim da tvoje pitanje govori o tome koliko dobro prakticiramo ono što su nam rekli da trebamo prakticirati.
How can you say that about me? Who are you?
Kako možeš to govoriti o meni, ko si ti?
Prabhu, that's offensive.
Prabhu, to je uvredljivo.
Don't you know I'm a senior devotee?
Znaš li da sam stari bhakta?
What happened to Trinadapi Sunichana? Where did that verse go?
Što se dogodilo sa Trinadapi Sunichana? Gdje je nestala ta šloka?
Sometimes I think a devotee should make wallpaper with that verse. And we'll just put it up all over our house, put it all over the temple, you know. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, carry it on your neck. Well, you don't always see what's on your neck, but that verse is very important.
Ponekad si mislim kako bi bhakti trebali napraviti zidne tapete sa tom kiticom i staviti je posvuda naokolo u svom okruženju, u kući, u hramu. Jer Bhaktivinoda Thakur je rekao da je trebamo nositi oko vrata tu šloku, ali kad je nosiš oko vrata onda je teško je poneki put vidjeti, pa je ta šloka jako važna.
So, when all else fails, try humility and tolerance.
Kad ništa drugo ne funkcionira, probaj poniznost i toleranciju.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea. I never thought of that.
Zvuči kao dobra ideja, nije mi nikad palo na pamet.
I was thinking I'm going to get back at that devotee.
Uvijek sam mislio kako da pokažem tom bhakti, da mu dam
That's our problem. That's our problem. We understand things philosophically, but when the emotions rise, we forget the philosophy.
To je naš problem. Teoretski razumijemo stvari, ali kad nas obuzmu emocije, zaboravimo filozofiju.
And therefore I say we need to be practicing more these things all the time, so they become natural forms of response.
Da moramo te stvari više prakticirati, vježbati tijekom vremena, tako da one postanu prirodan način na koji reagiramo.
Have you been practicing tolerance lately, or have you been practicing intolerance? Because whatever you practice, you're going to get really good at it. So decide what you want to practice.
Jesi li u posljednje vrijeme bio vježbao toleranciju ili netoleranciju? Jer što god vježbaš, u tome postaneš jako dobar, tako da možeš izabrati što želiš.
It's just a fact.
To je jednostavno činjenica.
So, someone's criticizing me, and it's like, okay, it's my chance to be humble and tolerant.
Ako nas neko kritizira, možemo shvatiti da je to naša prilika da budemo ponizni i tolerantni.
It's easy to be humble and tolerant when there's nobody around.
Lako je biti ponizan i tolerantan kad nikog nema naokolo.
Right?
Da ne?
Well, when someone's telling you you're stupid, it's not so easy to be humble and tolerant.
Ali kad ti neko kaže da si glup, nije baš tako lako biti ponizan i tolerantan.
You ever see a devotee going around, I'm the most fallen, I'm such an idiot, I'm such a rascal. You know why they do that? So no one else will say that to them.
Jeste li kad vidjeli bhaktu koji ide naokolo i koji govori, ja sam takav idiot, ja sam tako pao, nitkov sam. Znate li zašto to rade? Zato da im nitko drugi to ne kaže.
It's kind of a defense mechanism and an excuse to be a rascal.
To je obrambeni mehanizam i isprika da ne budemo nitkov.
So I hope that answered your question. If you need clarification, you can ask more.
Nadam se da sam ti odgovorio na tvoje pitanje. Ako ti treba neko objašnjenje, još možeš pitati dalje.
Maybe he got more than he bargained for, right?
Možda dobio više nego što je tražio.
I think sometimes we want a magic pill for an answer. Like you don't have to do much, But it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to be humble.
Ponekad želimo neko magično rješenje, magičnu pilulu koja će sve riješiti. Ali nije lako biti ponizan.
I don't have to tell you. We all know.
Mi to ti ne trebam ni reći, to svi znamo.
And then men get married and they have to be humble to their wives, and that takes them a long time to learn how to do that, if ever at all.
I onda se muškarci ožene i trebaju biti ponizni sa svojom ženom i zato im treba jako puno vremena da to nauče, ako uopće ikad nauče.
And the better the brahmachari training, the longer it takes to deprogram them.
Što je bolji brahmachari trening, to dulje traje deprogramiranje.
So, we get things mixed up, We're supposed to come out humble and we kind of get flipped upside down, What happened? I came out of the brahmachari ashram much more proud than when I came in. Something went wrong inside there.
Dogodi se tako da kad izađemo iz brahmachari ashrama trebali smo biti ponizniji nego što smo bili kad smo u njega ušli, ali se zna dogodi da se stvari okrenu naopako i ispadnemo van još ponosniji nego prije.
Do you ever notice that?
Ili primijetili to?
Something's going wrong inside that ashram. I don't know. Come out more humble.
Nešto ne valja u tom ashramu. Trebali bismo biti ponizniji.
Of course, we're joking here, but
šalimo se.
we've sometimes seen it.
Ponekad tako stvari ispadne.
There are many nice humble brahmacharis.
Ima puno finih poniznih brahmachari.
Okay. We have any other questions?
Imate li još koje drugo pitanje?
Da li bakte sa Zooma možda imaju neko pitanje?
I could ask you one thing.
Okay.
What does this tendency to criticize others speak about our relationship with Krishna? Ta sklonost da kritiziramo druge, šta ona govori o tome kakav je naš odnos s Krishnom?
What does it speak about? That anything you do to anyone else is a propensity that you have to do that to Krishna.
Što god da radimo drugima, to zapravo je ono što smo skloni raditi Krishni.
Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when you love Krishna, you love everybody.
Jer Bhaktivinoda Thakur kaže, kad voliš Krishnu, onda voliš svih.
You cannot be envious of another person without being envious of Krishna.
Ne možeš zavidjeti nekoj drugoj osobi, a da ne zavidiš Krishni.
When you criticize somebody, it makes you look good, right? So it makes you God become like God. It's just pride.
Kad drugog kritiziraš, onda i ti ispadneš kao dobar, bolji, izgledaš kao Bog u odnosu na njega. To je jednostavno ponos.
You study the Bhagavatam, you can see how much Krishna dislikes pride in the heart of his devotees.
A ako proučavaš Bhagavata, možeš vidjeti koliko se Krishni ne sviđa ponos u srcu njegovog bhakte.
He hates it.
Mrzi to.
Yeah. And how do you love Krishna? By loving his devotee.
I kako voliš Krishnu, tako da voliš njegovog bhaktu.
So how do you think Krishna is going to be happy with you when you criticize his devotee?
Kako će onda Krishna biti zadovoljan, sretan s tobom ako kritiziraš njegovog bhaktu?
Vinata, I like you, but I hate your daughter. How does that make you feel if you have a daughter?
Vinata, volim te, ali mrzim tvoju kćer. Kako se osjećaš ako to kažem, ako imaš kćer?
It doesn't make sense.
Nema smisla.
If you want to please Krishna, be humble and glorify the devotees. He'll be very happy with you. If you want to make him unhappy with you, just be proud and criticize devotees.
Ako želiš ugoditi Krišni, razveseliti Krišnu, budi ponosan i slavi bhakte. Ako želiš da on nije zadovoljan s tobom, onda ih budi ponosan i kritizira ih. Prvo je bilo ponizan i slavi, a sad je ponosan i kritizira.
That is clear by studying the Bhagavatam.
To je jako jasno ako proučavaš Bhagavatam.
You know, Bhagavatam is actually trying to scare us into not making offenses.
Bhagavatam nas zapravo želi prestrašiti tako da ne radimo uvrede.
By teaching us stories about devotees who ruin their lives by offending.
podučavajući nas priče o baktama koji su si uništili život tako što su uvrijedili nekog.
But I think to me, the most important thing is to understand it's our own personal defect. We have the need to find fault, and that's a deep contamination.
Ali ono što je jako važno tu razumjeti je da je to naša vlastita greška, da imamo to veliko zagađenje, potrebu da nalazimo greške.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Ima li smisla to?
Yeah. So my conclusion from studying this topic is we have to continually practice, avoiding criticism and appreciation. And that will cure us of this problem.
Moj zaključak stečen proučavanjem te teme je da moramo neprestano vježbati, da izbjegavamo kritiku i vježbamo pokazivanje kako cijenimo druge i tako ćemo ozdraviti od tog problema.
Why does your language sound so much like Italian? To my ears.
Because we are neighbors.
It sounds like Croatian with an Italian accent. Neighbors with Italy, huh?
Neighbors, yes. Zašto da jezik zvuči kao talijanski? Ja kažem zato što smo susjedi s Taljanima.
So a lot of Croatians speak Italian?
In this region where I live, quite a few.
Oh, buongiorno. Non capisco italiano.
Could I ask another question?
Yes.
We have some examples where when devotees were accused wrongly, they try to defend them. Actually, not devotees, but maybe Krishna, when he was accused with this Yamantaka jewel, that he killed Prasena and this whole thing, he took it seriously and tried to clear up his image of, how do you say, reputation. But like on the other side, when Shrivas was accused of worshipping Durga, he acted completely differently. He said, yes, that's my, even if everybody knew that it was not true.
Right.
So how to know when to, if we are accused wrongly, when to act and when to not act?
Well, until we become Krishna, we don't have to worry. We can just follow Srivas.
Okay, that's
Krishna has, because Krishna understands that if he's looked down upon, it's bad for people, if they criticize.
Maybe I just translate.
Yeah.
Pitanje je bilo da poneki put kad nas neopravdano osude ili za nešto optuže, kako znati da li trebamo reagirati ili ne, jer u šastrama imamo primjer kako je Krišna kad su ga optužili da je ubio Prasenu u priči sa draguljem Šamantakom, se potrudio da dokaže da on to nije napravio, a s druge strane u čitanju Čaritamriti imamo Srivas Thakura koji je bio optužen da obožava Durgu i on se, što je bilo lažno, ali on nije napravio ništa da te glasine, kako se kaže, da pokaže da nisu točne. Kako znati šta mi da trebamo napraviti? Mahatma Prabhu kaže da sve dok nismo Bog, možemo slijediti primjer Srivasa i da je Krišna se potrudio da pokaže kako je to bilo pogrešno, što su ga optuživali, zato što je loše za ljude kada imaju to pogrešno mišljenje o Krišni.
So generally the principle is the devotee won't try to defend himself.
Općeniti princip je da se bhakta neće pokušati obraniti.
But let's say I'm in charge of a project and the project's going really well and someone is making up stories about me and people are losing faith in me. Then it may be necessary that I defend myself for the sake of the project, not for the sake of my ego.
Ali recimo da sam ja zadužen za neki projekt i koji se dobro odvija i kad ljudi me počnu lažno kritizirati, govoriti neke stvari o meni koje nisu istinite, to utječe na tog projekta i onda će možda biti potrebno da pokažemo da su te stvari pogrešne, ne zbog sebe, zbog svog ega, nego zbog tog projekta koji je ugrožen tim glasinama.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
So it depends on the context and it depends on the result.
Tako da ovisi o kontekstu i o rezultatu. Thank you.
You're welcome. How's the weather out there?
Dark.
The snow melt? Did the snow melt already? Springtime?
We don't have snow here.
You don't have snow.
We live on the sea, on the seaside.
Oh.
I mean, we have snow in Croatia, but not here in ISKCON Rijeka.
Oh. You are what, further south?
From where from?
The southern part of Croatia?
No, it is the north part of Croatia, but on the sea.
Oh, well, the sea is warmer.
The North Adriatic coast.
Oh, okay. Never been there.
Oh.
It's the sea is what, the Baltic Ocean, or what is it?
Adriatic.
What's it called?
Adriatic Sea.
Adriatic.
It is part of the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, okay.
Small sea in between Croatia and Italy.
And what do they do? Windsurfing?
No, it was almost zero this morning here.
Oh, in the summer.
In summer, yes.
Windsurfing?
Not big waves here.
You don't need waves for it. You just. It's nice in the summer, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm from America. You know, Americans don't know geography, world geography. Did you know that?
Yes,
No.
because the world evolves around them.
Yeah, of course. We're number one.
Of course.
You know that, right? We're the smartest. Right? You'd be surprised how many stupid people live in America. I mean, maybe you're not surprised anymore. But you know, America is like so advanced. It's because we have intelligent people, but common people, many common people, they're not that smart.
I think stupid people are all over the planet.
Yeah, I think Einstein said that there's two things unlimited in the universe. There's two things that are unlimited: the universe and human stupidity.
Yeah, looks like that, especially in Kali Yuga.
Anyway, well, it was nice to be in Croatia.
Thank you.
So, what's next? You have something now? Your Sunday program continues, or what?
Yes, we will continue the Sunday feast program with Gaur Arati
Okay.
and then Prashadam.
Prasadam. Oh, okay. Well, I won't be able to take your prasadam. Someday
We will
maybe.
send it to you over email.
Yeah. I'm asking devotees to figure out how they can do that. Digitize it, and then it comes out, the prasadam comes out on the other end. Someone will figure it out somehow or other.
Prasadam printer.
They did it
3D
with,
Prasadam printer.
yeah, audio. They did it with video and art. Why not with food? Digitize your food. Whatever. But then digitized food is going to cause cancer, right? Because it's digitized. Right? Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe we shouldn't invent that. We have enough technology messing up our lives already.
Definitely.
Okay. Nice
Thank
to
you
see
so
everyone.
much, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Okay, so what are you going to do now? You're going to practice appreciation.
Practice.
You're going to, after the art take, you're all going to go around appreciating. Okay, super. Well, I'm going to leave you now.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Prabhu.
To the Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Mahatma Prabhu ki jai.
All glories to all the devotees. in
Hare
Croatia.
Krishna.
Nego.
Hare Krishna. Draga Vinata, hvala puno na divnom prijevodu.
Ovi su me htjeli cijelo vrijeme, ja nisam pogledala da ima pitanje na FB ISKCON Rijeka.
Aha. Mhm.
Ali telefon nije bio kraj mene.
Aha.
A Maharaj je već otišao.
Otišao je, nažalost.
On za sljedeći put možda neko pogleda na FB.
Još nije otišao.
Provjeravali smo, ja sam provjeravala na Facebooku i preko Zooma, ali nije bilo. Ali vjerojatno je bilo i kasno sad već za Prabhua. Tako da evo, dragi bakte, ako ste imali još koje pitanje, stvarno se ispričavamo što vam nije bilo odgovoreno. Eto, sada za nastavak govor Aroti i onda prasada. Hare Krishna!
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna! Čujemo se. Mahasimha Prabhu.
Ok. Anja, morat ćete nazvat malo sutra.
Može, slobodno.
Evo,
Haribol. Jai Jagannath.
Sve štima. Dobro, idemo pjevati lijepo. I bhajayo jayo gaurachande arotika shobha. Jana vitatavane jagamana loba. Jana vitatavane
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvidesa Shunyavadi Pachatare Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama
Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paravrijakačarya Ashtotra Shrotra Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Founder Acharya of ISKCON A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paravrijakačarya Ashtotra Shishimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nama Acharya Shlahardas Thakur Ki Ananta Koshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinata Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Vrindavana Dama Ki Nazif Mayapur Dama Ki Jagannath Puri Dama Ki ISKCON Rijeka Ki Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Yamuna Mai Ganga Mai Ki Na Harinama Sankirtana Yagya Ki Sva slava okupljenim baktama Sva slava okupljenim baktama Sva slava okupljenim baktama Sva slava Shri Shri Guru i Shri Gorangi Šrila Prabhupadu.
Latin Tanja i ti pjevala možda da snimka predavanje.
Ali
Ili-
iz vas.
Od nas, zašto?
Pujte ja. Aj.
A da, malo to je.
moraš vidjeti da sam ja to pravo znalić, ako me voliš, onda kako da će izaš vesilom iz ovog svijeta možda. Nešto to je.
Dragi bakte, evo da zaključimo službeno današnji program. Samo za naše gledatelje preko Zooma i Facebooka koji ne mogu nažalost uživati u prasadamu s nama, častiti. Evo, hvala vam puno na prisutstvu i nadam se da se vidimo još kojom prilikom. Hare Krishna, laku noć.